Martians among us. You wore black leather pants, sitting on my black leather couch. A Martian might conclude the couch and the pants are one thing, and you another. In the evening, when you rose, he would expect you to leave your pants with the couch, where he concluded they naturally belong. There is a Martian in me. There are 18 poems here, indeed my first and best-selling chapbook. And the proceeds will be donated to next year's Verse Fest. I would like to take this opportunity and thank Bardia and the team of Inwards for putting this together. It was both an honor and a pleasure working with you. Standing here is a milestone for me. If there was a topic I had little interest in, it is poetry. If there was a subject I did not get, it is English. By all accounts, I was late, even among the late bloomers. And yes, my English still needs help, and so is my poetry. Earthworm Therapy. Saw an earthworm behaving less active than usual. I wondered what might have caused it. It could not have been in pain in his leg, for he doesn't have any. Nor could it be a lower back pain, for the same reason. By elimination, I concluded that he must have suffered from a migraine headache. I broke open a capsule of ibuprofen liquid gel and gently rubbed it along his body, back and forth, until he regained his strength and resumed his routine. So I ended up a biologist, and I like to incorporate science into my writing, including topics that aren't necessarily in my field of expertise. Stop the mad scientist. If we could travel at the speed of light, pass through a cosmic wormhole, reverse the flow of time, you would have experienced every orgasm long before I touch you. Or another one. It's one of those that I wouldn't dare reading in front of my wife. The look in your eyes, the mystery conveyed in just one look, makes me realize that Einstein may have missed the single universal force that explains it all. From the drive of leaders to conquer, to the dash of husbands taking out the garbage, down to me who runs to hide between these words. Stuart McLean said that good poetry is supposed to take you closer to the truth. When writing about relationships, I never know where the truth is, so I try to use humor instead. I would like to dedicate the next one to Rob and Christine. I'm sure they're watching us on YouTube now. It's a good poem, I know that for a fact. Not thanks to the author, but thanks to the editor, Phil Hall. And just like Bardia did with a couple of poems in the chapbook, Phil improved the draft by removing what I thought were my best lines. Here it is, Goldfish. Saw a beautiful hibiscus, through the greenhouse glass. It was minus 30 degrees outside, plus 30 inside. Stared at the goldfish through the aquarium glass, busy rediscovering the corners of his confine. We had the house to ourselves the other day. Rooms quickly filled with erotic hallucinations. You said it's a great opportunity to go out. I looked into your eyes through my glasses, through your glasses. It happened that an idea for a poem hits me when I drive. Usually it flies out the window, but sometimes I'm lucky and manage to capture it. So here's one example. Expert opinion. On the way downtown, a busy road alongside the golf course, I saw people swinging their clubs at that early morning hour. Could not tell if these were freeloaders playing while others are rushing to work, or high-ranking managers, the true engine of our economy, taking the time to connect with the rich, the ruling, the influential, making decisions that affect us all. Had a discussion with my professor long ago, a different topic, when trying to tell one organism from another. He said, only an expert can differentiate between two closely related species. From driving to travel, here's a poem that was drafted in my mind when we took a family vacation in Toronto. Wisdom of the Bronze. Stood in front of Rodin's The Thinker in a Toronto art gallery. It was smaller than expected, only about 2 feet long, yet a marvel of details and expression. I could have looked at it for hours, but this is just a figure of speech. A few minutes into the hours, and I've seen all that I wanted, lost interest, started to pay attention to the attendant. She said that 3 such sculptures were made. One was here, the others on display in overseas. She looked puzzled when I asked for details. I told you, she repeated, one is here, the others are in overseas. A few minutes into the conversation, and I realized there may have been more wisdom in the bronze than in the person I was talking to. I wanted to go back to the thinker, continue my conversation with him, but that is just a figure of speech. I stayed with the attendant, listened to her story, appreciated her attempt to make an honest living. She had more to offer than a metal could hold, even if cast by a grand master, even if originally named the poet. Travel is indeed a wonderful way for me to get inspiration. Often, though, being alone in a room with nothing but memories is enough. Memories in a bunch of grapes. Mom gave me a list and sent me to the grocery store of Mr. Roth. A short list, an empty store. Mr. Roth stood behind the counter, holding a bunch of grapes. He took my list and placed it in front of him. Reading, eating. There were only a few items on the list, but there were many grapes on the bunch, and Mr. Roth was in no rush. One grape at a time. We stood there for a while, Mr. Roth, me, the list, the bunch. He never looked at me. It was still more real than, "How are you today?" I also remember serving in the military. It is compulsory where I come from. Here in Canada, I had the opportunity to work with peacekeepers. I therefore feel close to our men and women in uniform. Morning news. Another soldier died in Afghanistan. Ordered my coffee extra strong with triple sugar and a multigrain bagel. Sipped to the last drop, collected all the crumbs, carefully returned the tray to its place. I really left it clean this time. My understanding of tonight's event is that it gives you an opportunity to get to know better the hot voices of Ottawa, or lukewarm in my case. Let me help you just a little bit. Body of evidence. I wanted you to lose yourself in my thick, long hair, glide on bronze skin, place a stronghold on mountainous muscles. But my hair is short and diminishing, skin pale, muscles nowhere to be seen. Why are you still here is a mystery. The less I think about it, the better. Why are you still here? Thank you, and farewell, Bardia.